And of course, a very special, heartfelt and sincere thank you to the President of Armenia, Nikol Pashinyan, and President of Artsakh, Arayik Harutyunyan, for being so brave, fighting the enemy so bravely, so resolutely, so absolutely, leading our troops to an eventual victory, just like the one in 1915. Eventually, we will overcome it, one way or the other, bitter end or the sweet end. So thank you. And also to all the doctors, nurses, citizens of Artsakh, the civilians, women, children, for those doctors and nurses and volunteers, we owe a debt, big debt of gratitude. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Շնորհակալ եմ, շատ mersi. Ուրբան ձեզի. Մատաղ ձեզի. Any way and shape or form, your contributions will go down in the history. And believe you me, Mr. Trump, Pence, Netanyahu, Macron, and Chancellor Merkel, they will know about it. They know about it now. But eventually your spirit, the Armenian spirit, will be remembered for fighting on 4 fronts. Mr. Trump, your weaponry. Mr. Netanyahu, your drones supplied to the Turks and the Azeris. The Azeris, the Turkish military aid. 4 fronts we are fighting on and winning. Do you think it is humane or gentlemanly for 4 powers, 2 of them superpowers, gang up on a small village in Artsakh and surrounding areas? Is there any humanity in what you're doing? Really? I mean, almost respectfully. Is this a becoming of a mensch, of men of gumption, honor, decency of some kind? Really, we do need an answer, as to exactly why are you doing this? Really, why? Make a list, please. How do you justify this in your heart, soul, mind? This is the question of the century. Please respond to our Armenians, 4 fronts. How is that brave on your behalf? May I ask respectfully? How is that brave on your behalf? Any answers, any replies, please? we'll move on to the next video. What may come, que sera sera, whatever will be, que sera sera, whatever is God's will be. It was God's will, the universe, that span and made sure Armenians do survive. Just like God and the universe span when the Jewish people, Mr. Netanyahu, honorable, strong Jewish people survived the Holocaust. Do you realize you are actually aiding and abetting the second Hitler? That's what Mr. Erdogan has been called, the second Hitler. You know, the first Hitler was inspired by Mr. Erdogan's ancestors. And he said, who remembers Armenians now? As George Clooney said, the world. The world remembers us. The world knows us. The world this time will not abandon us. I can't speak only for myself, but you know, I know what it's like for human beings to have a good heart. Doesn't matter, you know, nationality, money, creed. So, and there are very, so many heartful people in the world still left. Who are still waiting for you, Mr. Trump, to make America great again. In its peacefulness, in its humanity, in its consciousness, in its spirituality. These are all elements and platforms you can operate on in America, especially if you get to the White House again. Please. The elements, what the respective and past governments of America, the platforms and elements that they have operated on, it's always been, unfortunately, warmongering, creating wars that didn't, you know, shouldn't have happened. Your own people died in so many of those wars all over the world because of what kind of game was that? Financial, political, territorial. Black gold, resources, natural resources. What? Lives for that? Of your own people. So America deserves to be great in a peaceful way for a change, Mr. Trump. I think Mr. Biden and Senator Harris have realized that. Because at least they had the decency and the courtesy of extending their understanding of how wrong this war is waged by the Turks and the Azeris under your watch, Mr. Trump and Netanyahu, may I say. Boris Johnson, Merkel and Macron. Under your watch, once again. How many times do I have to mention it before it sinks in what you're doing to our people? But rest assured, to my own last breath, I shall be saying it, writing it. And it will not be just in my book that this will go down in the annals of history as your complacency, indecency, unfortunately with respect. It will be written in every book that cares to mention it. from now on. Do you know of William Saroyan, Mr. Trump? Netanyahu, of course. Merkel, Macron. Do you know of William Saroyan? If you don't, please Google it. Find out how Armenians writers write. Because the sword in our heart can turn in ways that an ordinary sword cannot. We can also spin and twist, and we don't need weapons of mass destruction to do so. I hope it is capiche by now, with respect. Where I stand and where all the Armenians in America stand, hopefully, again, I can only speak for myself, but I know the Armenian heart and spirit. They will not betray their country, men and women, and their own motherland in order to vote you into government again, Mr. Trump and Mr. Pence. I doubt it very, very much. Our spirit, Armenian spirit, will not allow it. But again, I speak only for myself. So, que sera, sera, whatever will be, whatever is God's will be. What may come, rain or shine, we will not perish this time. Not without a fight. Albeit a verbal fight. But as you know, the tongue is stronger than the sword, they say. I didn't invent that. It was here when I got here. And it's true. That's very true in case of the Armenians, especially now and in 1915. William Saroyan. Please Google it. There are so many others. While you're at it, Barul Sebak. Google that also, please. Barul Sebak. Well, I do not know to cry to you or to smile at you and turn the other cheek. Either way, please don't be mistaken with respect. Even if I and all the Armenian people in the world and Artsakh turn their other cheek, when it comes to this cheek, we will hit back. Non-violently, peacefully, verbally, action, demonstration. We will turn the other cheek, but then we will fight again with this cheek, this side. Capiche? As they say, respectfully. Okay. I will smile. Will not cry anymore. Turn the other cheek and fight on this side, with this side. In fact, where the heart is, look, this side. Where the heart is. on the left. Where the spirit is, where our love resides. And some say, Mr. Trump, Pence, and Netanyahu, Merkel, Macron, that the heart is where God resides also. Check your, Bibles, Google it. Where the God that you revere resides in your heart. That's why they say, love is in your heart, God is in your heart. What is God? God is love. What is love? God. At the ultimate stage of existence, that is. At the spiritual level. So, tonight, before you go to sleep, please, not just all the Armenians in the world and all the people in the world who, you'll be watching this, but you in particular, Mr. Trump, Pence, Netanyahu, once again, Macron, Merkel, consult your heart on behalf of the Armenians, the heartful Armenians you are keeping silent about, and militarily aiding them weaponry to the ones who are killing us. You cannot kill our heart. Consult your heart. And very simply, it's a very simple logic, simple process. Ask yourself, if your country were to be our country, from 1915 genocide to 2020 genocide looming, how would you feel? Human to human. I know. I am a layman, a commoner maybe even, you would consider me. But on the human level, we are all equal, man. In our soul, the very existence of the creation source that we've come from, if you don't believe in God. The creation source. There must have been a creation source, right? Of some kind. So human to human. Please consult your heart. They say your heart is the strongest part of the human anatomy. I didn't invent that neither. He was here when I got here. And you know it, because when human beings put their heart into something, no one can defeat them, and also they will succeed. Mr. Netanyahu, the Right Honorable Mr. Netanyahu, the honorable Jewish people know this. Hitler could kill them physically, unfortunately, but their heart never died. Consult your heart, Mr. Netanyahu. It's stronger than your drones. And Mr. Trump and Pence and the rest of the Brady Bunch, with respect, consult your heart about the Armenian situation and let us know what is your heart telling you through your soul and through your mind. Forget about this fake, orchestrated media narration, especially from BBC. Really, BBC, shame on you, man. Come on. Beyond this fake, made up, dictated media narrations. Give us an answer, a reply, after you have consulted your heart, through your soul and through your mind, and through the eyes and the mouth that is going to speak to us. After you watch this video, please, respectfully. Let us and the world and America see what you are actually made of. It's not your money, your power, your control, your manipulation, your 1%. At the end of the day, it is what's in your heart as a human being that gets things done, good things done. You don't need me to tell you this, come on. You're a man of power, money, position, strength. You already know this, but I have to mention it because it seems it is eluding you in somehow, that you are still keeping silent, that you are still supplying weaponry to our enemy. Well, I have mentioned it now. Please. At the very least, give us a clue as to why are you doing this after you consult your hearts. And of course, why are you not saying something and stopping it? Yeah, I'm sure. If we had, black gold or natural resources, you would have been the first in there, in our country, in our cause, defending our people, like you did in, Kuwait, Iraq, for Kuwait. Everybody knows this. It's not even an open secret. It's wide open. Everybody knows how you operate. Now this time, please, Mr. Trump, Mr. Netanyahu, and once again Macron and Merkel, come together, please. Respectfully, I'm asking, and hopefully the rest of Armenians in the world are asking, come together and say, our hearts are the strongest part of our anatomy. We do not need weaponry. We do not have to sell this to the Turks and the Azeris. Let your heart speak, please. Because your mouth isn't speaking. Your actions are not talking. What else have you got left? Try your heart. I'm going to keep saying this forever. In as many, ways as possible. That's a peaceful and non-violent approach to talk, to negotiate, to appreciate what's happening. Kindly do not let us down again, 1915 was enough, Mr. Netanyahu. Mr. Trump. We do not have precious resources to be taken, but I assure you, we have precious lives to be saved. Precious lives to be saved. You were there like a shot out of a gun, as quickly as a bullet, with your troops for precious commodities and resources of black gold. Fine, past is the past. That was them days. But our precious commodity is our hearts. Not in any way to be mistaken. Hearts of gold. Mr. Trump. Not a heart like apparently yours is, full of black gold. Excuse me, and respectfully I must say, because that is how it comes across in your attitude towards us. That the red blood of the Armenians that are being spilled by your guns and your, whatever it is that you're supplying the Turks and the Azeris militarily, those red bloods that are being spilled right now as we speak, that red blood doesn't seem to be in your veins and in your heart. Because if it were, in terms of a patriotic person, you will know what we are going through, and you will understand that money, power, control, bloody hell, how much of it do you need to be happy and content with your 1%, dictating or conducting or controlling or manipulating? We know what's going on, please. How much of it do you need to be happy and content? So then you could say to yourself, I'm going to use my heart from now on. In my approach towards the second term in the White House, if you like. You could say that to yourself, for instance, and you will see how many Americans, not to mention Armenian Americans, and not to mention the rest of the world, how many people will actually admire you more and more. They will start really loving you, as they love Biden. Mr. Biden and Senator Harris for their statement towards Armenian plight in Artsakh. So let this be a bedtime story, if you like, with respect, so you can consult your heart, all of you. The Western leaders, Israeli government, Mr. Trump's administration, because I let you know that Mr. Biden and Senator Harris have consulted their heart. They didn't think of weaponry, selling, making money, position, control, manipulation, the 1%. No. They consulted their hearts and made that statement about the Armenians and what's going on in Artsakh and how it should be stopped immediately, and how your Trump administration should acknowledge it, first of all, blame it on the aggressors, stop the weaponry supply, and do something and say something, Mr. Trump, from your heart. Mr. Biden and Senator Harris, and in turn, all the Democrats in their team, they consulted their heart. to come up with that statement. And in your rallies, you've hardly ever mentioned that plight, that agony, that anguish of dying in our guts under your weapons, with your weapons, partly. Please respectfully match our heart and our spirit as Armenian people, which you have actually accepted in your speeches in the rally that I watched and displayed on one of the videos here. I think it was the first one. Consult your heart and talk to our people, please. Consult your heart, Mr. Trump and Pence. Talk to Mr. Netanyahu, Macron and Merkel. Come to some kind of a conclusion, and then please talk again in your next rally to our Armenian people. Not just by saying, oh, we're doing some things. What things? Please tell us. Because I'm sure Mr. Biden and Senator Harris have come on top here, politically, humanely, decently. Please read their statement. Google it, please. All of you, the superpowers, have as much heart as Mr. Biden and Senator Harris. Please, with respect. That's what we deserve from you, especially after the 1915 genocide by the Turks, which you all, again, I must say, the government of the time, your governments of the time, ignored, said nothing, stumm, nada, zero. But now, not only you don't say nothing, nada, zero, but you have gone -0, because you are supplying weaponry to our enemy. So this genocide in the making is even worse. Now you're actually not saying anything and actually supplying weaponry to kill us. And you think, Mr. Trump, this will go down well with the Armenians who are going to vote for you?